Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
You know who's not boring ever under any circumstance?
Who's that?
Is the man himself. There he is. Tony Bruno, no filter.
What up, yo? I've been combing the desert, and D-Gun, I've done that route too. I did the 10 though. You don't want to be going up 17 to Flagstaff and then go all the way down the desert through the Verde Valley. You want to go straight across the 10 from LA to Phoenix, baby.
Well, see, I'm coming from Wisconsin, so that's a big difference. I can't veer all the way to 10 and then come back.
That is good. That's good highway knowledge, Tony, right there, man. That is unbelievable. You're bringing it. You are bringing it. So where are we exactly right now, Tone? Where are we?
I'm actually right in front of the convention center, so I didn't want to go in because I didn't want to lose cell service. Because now, you know how it starts with these Super Bowl radio rows. You know, we got here Saturday, and then Sunday we come in, set up our equipment, and then Monday there's nobody there. Then Tuesday more media show up, and then today it starts really cranking up. So the streets are all blocked, but it's beautiful here. You guys know Arizona's gorgeous. It's a little chilly. It's probably 42 degrees, but it's a dry chill. You know, he's talking about the dry heat. It's a dry chill. And the media party was last night at this great place called The Farm. And it's a real farm. And it was the biggest venue ever.
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of great cactus fritters. Have you ever had cactus fritters, Rob?
No, I have not.
I
have. What do they
what
entail?
it is?
Yeah.
It's deep fried cactus. But Brett, you know, if you've been to state fairs and anything, you can deep fry anything. And I don't care what it is. You can deep fry rattlesnake, coyote meat, alligator meat. When you put that in the hot oil and it comes out of there, man, and I know you're a man of fine cuisine, and I always see you cooking, D-Gun, but there's nothing better than deep fried, except when your arteries clog up immediately after eating it.
Hey, Tony, you got to try, I don't know where you get it from. You got to try, like, it's the fried scorpion. And you can get tarantula. You can get tarantula cooked up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've tried a little bit of everything, man. Rattlesnake is the best.
Well, we're in an Airbnb. I'm not kidding. You know, we're true north. You go out there, we're up in Scottsdale. We are so far up in Scottsdale. Literally, all you see is coyotes, roadrunners, javelina.
Yep.
You know, and once it calms down on Friday night, I'm going to go out there and at nighttime with one of those flashlights. You know, that see, because scorpions shine. If you put like a blue light on them, those things shine at night, man. So I'm going to go scorpion hunting, and I'll videotape that and post it on my Twitter account. But D-Gun, I got to say this first. Yeah. So media night. I go down at the Footprint Center right across the street, formerly U.S. Airways Arena, formerly America West, formerly Talking Stick, and now Footprint Center. I keep saying Footloose, Footjoy, but it's Footprint Center. I don't know any of these buildings anymore. We used to be able to tell. And so I go up to Brandon Graham, and I said, man, D-Gun's not here, and you know that there should be no Super Bowl, at least with the Philadelphia Eagles involved, without Derek Gunn. And he said, absolutely. Shout out to Derek, man. D-Gun, I can't believe you're not out here, man. I would, if I had known, I would have personally used my American Airlines air miles and had you come out here, man. I would have made sure you were out here, bro.
Hey, look, Tony, and my brother lives below the South Hills in Phoenix, so I know the area well. And I was going to tell you this about the scorpions. I know where you are in Scottsdale. Just shake your shoes every morning, man, because these little like earth tone color scorpions get in your shoes and stuff. They come through the vents. So every time I'm at my brother's house, I always have to shake my shoes to make sure there's no little scorpions in there. And the smaller ones sting worse than the bigger ones. Just keep that in mind as well.
No, I mean, I love wild animals, you know, and I love the actual animals as well, too. But the wild animals in Scottsdale in for the Waste Management, the greatest golf tournament on it. Forget about the Masters. Forget about the U.S. Open. Forget about Scotland and Ireland and all these other great legendary courses. There is nothing better than TPC at Scottsdale for the Waste Management Open. It is the wildest golf tournament. And so you imagine you got all these people for the Super Bowl and the Waste Management, which is always this weekend. The Super Bowl is not obviously here except every 5 years. So it is absolutely going to be insane the next couple of days here.
Yeah, Tony, that's what every golf tournament should be. It should be screaming, shotgunning beers, everybody going bananas, Eagles chants. That's what it should be.
Now you see it there. There's right behind me. I don't know if you can see it's the convention center here.
Yeah,
this
we
is
got
the
it. Yep.
And then every once in a while they'll put "Fly Eagles Fly" or "Go Birds," and then everywhere you look. See, now they got Chiefs Kingdom up there.
Yeah. Yep.
But I want to see the Go Birds. Go Birds.
Yes.
Go.
Tony, how many Super Bowls have you covered, man? What number is this?
This is number 40 for me. And, you know, and NFL honors. Now, again, you know, when I started going to Super Bowls in the late 70s, you know, I went to the Steelers and Rams out there at the Rose Bowl. There are no Radio Rows. I went there as a fan, or, you know, radio station trips to go out there with listeners. And then the Eagles Super Bowl, you know, in obviously in New Orleans back in the day, the Dick Vermeil team with Jaworski and the guys. I was doing a show with Stan Walters, the all-pro left tackle. Yeah. And the way we did it back then, we would do live shows every night. So he would be in the media hotel. I would be in some other hotel. I would go to his room every afternoon and then take the receiver, you know, the old phones with the real phones, and you would able to unscrew the mouthpiece. Oh, yeah. And you take it out, and then you put alligator clips on the 2 screws there, and then you would actually hold the mic and put it through your tape recorder and feed it down the phone. That's how we did interviews and pregame shows back in the day, in when the Eagles were in their first Super Bowl in New Orleans back in the day, when they should have beaten the Raiders, and Dick Vermeil told them to stay inside while the Raiders went out on Bourbon Street and got wasted, and then the Eagles came out tight, and then Kenny King broke a long one, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Kenny King had 2 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, I've covered 11 Super Bowls, and is it amazing what Radio Row has become at Super Bowls? It's a who's who of former and current media people. It's like, if you're not on Radio's Row, you're not anybody at a Super Bowl.
And you're right, D. Here's the thing. It's not even Radio Row anymore. There's a lot of radio stations. Now, you talk about how it's transitioned and how it's grown. You know, in the beginning, remember, there were only a couple of sports stations when Radio Row first started. So they, you know, it was the Fan in New York and WIP were the first 2 really big sports stations. Yep. And then sports radio started spreading. So there were no Radio Rows until the 90s. And then it was only a few stations. Then obviously sports radio exploded, the syndication, the ESPNs and the Fox Sports radios and all the affiliates, they would all go. But now you walk on Radio Row, the first thing you see is a gigantic DraftKings kiosk. I mean, huge stage, FanDuel. So now gambling, which you weren't even allowed to whisper about at the Super Bowl 5 years ago, now it's everywhere. There's FanDuel sports books. You can bet on the corner. They're allowing like bookies. Nunzio from South Philly, he's on Radio Row. So gambling has taken over. And you know what else has taken over? Not radio stations. It's really not Radio Row anymore. It's like Podcast Row. Yeah. There are podcasted shows. You know, I walked around and looked at all the tables, and I'm like, what the hell? Who the hell are these guys? And again, God bless them. I mean, they probably have more listeners than I do, but you're walking around and you're saying, what the hell is that show? And the hardest part is like when, you know, luckily I know a lot of the athletes and they'll come over, like, you know, Dana, what's his name from UFC?
Dana White,
who I know and just couldn't remember his name. He sees me and he comes right over to my desk. But then there's like 50 other radio stations and producers and podcasts are running over to him to try to get him. So it's harder for them now because you know how media is. You know, anybody who comes on, Dana was just walking around and I saw him and said, come over. And he came over and sat down. But the other people who are around, the athletes, you know, who are pimping a product or something, you know, they have a list of all the stations. And now with all the TV shows, you know, and you got CBS Sports and you got Fox Sports. So they all have like booths. And the athletes coming in, they want to go Jim Rome. They want to go on that show. They want to go on Sirius XM. And so there's a lot of people who are not getting very many guests because they're not going to get in the pecking order unless they know somebody. So that's the hardest part for all the new media people to get guests. And so luckily, you know, a lot of people know me. So I get enough guests. I don't need to go wall-to-wall guests, but we have a lot of fun. I only do 3 hours. And so that flies by when you're having fun.
Yeah, so you can follow Tony, by the way, at Tony Bruno Show, and of course, no filter. I mean, you name it, you got it, man. I mean, Tony delivers the goods, man. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Right. So, Tony,
well, thank you, guys.
Coolest / weirdest encounter you've had since you've been there so far, but whether it's a big name celebrity or just some crazy dude dressed up, you know, asking questions on media day, whatever. You got any weird sightings?
Well, you know, the media day so far, the biggest thrill I had was Monday. You know, I had Frank Caliendo walk by. Nobody was there, and he wasn't even there to do interviews. He was just in there to go talk to somebody. And I see him walking in because my set is like second in. So Dan Lebitard's show is right in front of me, and Dan's not out here. He's in Miami, and his guy Stu Gotts and those guys are there. So I know them. And then the second table when you walk in. So I'm like the second guy. You can't go by me without me seeing you. So I look up and I see Frank Caliendo, and I hadn't seen him in years, and I scream at him, "Hey, Frank, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass over here." So that's the kind of stuff I can do and get away with, because on No Filter, No Filter is what George Carlin said we couldn't say on the air back in the day. Now you can say all those 7 words, and you're not going to get censored, and you're not going to get beeped out, and nobody's going to go back and edit it or hit a beep button. And again, we don't curse just to curse. But if somebody says a bad word, the whole place doesn't go crazy and say, "Oh my God, we didn't get that. Did you get that?
Hit the dump button. Hurry up." Yeah.
But my biggest thrill, so my point is, yesterday, my biggest thrill was interviewing Carrot Top.
Oh, geez. He's still relevant?
He's
Carrot
jacked,
Top,
by the way, Tony. He's huge.
He is jacked. And that's the first thing I said. Although he's losing some muscle mass, he's 57. So he sits down, and I had never met him, and I'd never actually seen his show. I've seen clips. And so we started talking about, I said, "Can I call you? Do I call you Carrot? I call you Mr. Top? What do you want me to call you? How about if I call you Orange Man Good? Because you're orange, and Orange Man Bad has been a big thing for the last 7 years. Why does anybody ever called you Orange Man Good?" And he said, "No." I said, "Use it. Put your name Carrot Top on the Luxor pyramid. Carrot Top, Orange Man Good, or OMG, and then you put that up there, man." And I said, "You could use it. I'm not going to charge you. Trademark it. I think that's the next generation of Carrot Top." So he's been there 17 years.
Oh my God.
doing the room in the Luxor. It's 17 years. And so we had the one funny line he said. I said, 17 years. He said, and then Adele comes in and does 5 nights and calls it a residency. A residency. I've been there 17 years. I said, I did a week once at the Mandalay Bay, and they had my picture up. They had me up on the marquee. I was there 5 days. Was that a residency? I'm going to put that on my resume. I did a 5-day residency in Mandalay Bay back in the 80s, 90s. Whatever it was.
Hey, Tony, for all the aspiring journalists out there who would like to do something similar to what you're doing, and as you talk about, when you get to an event like a Super Bowl, a lot of what you do is spontaneous based on who's walking by at any given moment. What's your secret? Because you've been doing this as long as I have, if not longer. What's your secret in terms of doing interviews and how to make subjects feel comfortable with you, to break that ice with them? Because, they all look at you side-eyed in the media like, "Okay, what are you trying to get out of me?" But I always have my theory that I share with people on how to make people comfortable. What's your suggestion?
It's funny because people were asking me that yesterday, because a lot of people stand around. I have a couple young guys working with me now, and they were sitting there, and they saw that the only person that brought me a sheet was Sean Merriman. But I knew Sean Merriman from the San Diego Chargers. I didn't know what he was doing now, so I didn't need a fact sheet other than to say that he has his own MMA company, and he's a big MMA guy now. So he puts on fights, and he gets them on pay-per-view. So that's his career. Lights out. That was his name with the Chargers. So I didn't luckily, because I know a lot about so many of these people, but I haven't had one fact sheet that I needed when Frank Caliendo sat down, when Carrot Top sat down, when people walk by. There's one guy who's working for Dan Le Batard. He's a rapper, and he sat down and he was listening to me and laughing his ass off. And then he sat down and I said, "What's your rap song?" And his name is Juju Gotti. Juju Gotti, look him up. And so I said, "You got any things we can play?" And of course there's a lot of bad words. I said, "No, let's play it." So we played it, and we could play music without having to be shut down. And he started singing along with his rap song, and it was hilarious.
Oh.
So it's spontaneous. And the thing when you do this a long time, you're just really having conversations.
Yeah.
You're not interviewing somebody. So I think if you make the person feel comfortable, and they see that you're comfortable and you're having a good time, even if it's a serious matter, you don't laugh at serious matters, but there aren't many serious matters here at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You're talking about a game that's 7 days away on Monday. So you just have to have fun. And there's so many young podcasters and shows, as I mentioned, they're all doing the same thing because they know digital media is the future of our industry. Everything, whether you're a writer, whether you're a broadcaster, whether you're a TV person, nobody's carrying tape recorders around anymore. It's all digital. I mean, your phone now, people are doing shows on phones like I am right now. Yep. I'm holding my Samsung Galaxy right now. Can you tell that I'm doing this on a phone?
No.
In front of the media center?
No,
here
it's great. The contrast, the color, everything's perfect.
The clarity is unbelievable behind you, man.
Like, so you just
because I got the new 8G phone. I didn't go 5G. I had to go 8G just to make sure I made this appearance today.
You damn right you did. You damn right you did.
That's when you know.
Bruno.
That's when you know you're big time. You go
exactly
from 5
right.
to 8G.
8G. None of that 5G nonsense. Tony, good.
It's like, you know, when you get the Experian boost, I got the G boost today. I got boosted up to 8G.
Boom. Love it. Just curious, because you set me up perfectly. What do you think the state of sports talk radio is? As a guy who did it forever at every level, local, national, et cetera, syndicated, the whole nine.
I think it's fine in the local markets, but the one thing I did notice, Rob, is that there you used to see every radio station from every market, and even the Philly stations here, they weren't here on Monday, and then John Kincaid, he got in last night. So and the worst part is, and this, Derek, and you too, Rob, when you do an East Coast morning drive show, it starts at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
you're on the air out here at 4 a.m. Mike Jarek, I see him, and he's out at the party last night. It's 11 o'clock. I said, "What time you going on, Mike?" He said, 4 a.m. But, Mike and Alex Holly, they could roll all night and go right in there and do the show. So when I was doing the show with Mike Golick at ESPN, Mike lived out here, and he still has a place. We were doing shows at 3 a.m. So we were going 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in Arizona. So that's hard if you want to get guests. Oh, I have
there you go.
I have Jimmy Shapiro bringing out a wheelchair for me.
Who's that?
That's Derek Gunn.
Jimmy, I know Jimmy.
What's up, Jimmy?
How you doing? Yeah, this is for Jim McMahon.
Oh, that's right. Jim McMahon's coming on the show. So he still has a hard time walking?
Well, yeah, he lives out here. Last year he was full on, but now he's on crutches for 6 hours of walking. No one needs to see my nose that close.
Come on, man.
That's awesome.
Cherry Hill West class of 1988 in the house. Lots of us are going to be at the Super Bowl.
There you
There you
go.
go, baby. There you go.
Jimmy provides a lot of good information. Jimmy's big on my email list. I appreciate
I'm
Jimmy.
glad you guys are independent. That's how you make the real bucks. Happy
Exactly.
for you.
Now, what's the site now that you're involved with?
I'm involved everywhere.
No, the one gambling site, the one betting site.
Bet online, but they may have other sponsors. I don't want to get them in.
No, I mean, everybody's got a
man.
sponsor.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
It's all good.
Go ahead, get your plug in.
Well, I appreciate that. Today, working with Jim McMahon and Kyle Turley. I'm also working with Ross Tucker, who you guys probably know really well.
Yep.
Kyle Turley and Jim McMahon are doing stuff on cannabis, and they're trying to get the NFL to stop testing for cannabis.
Okay.
And they're going to be on my show first and foremost when they come in, because Jimmy knows that at all these things, he says, "Who do you need?" I said, I want Jim McMahon to come in barefoot, but now, unfortunately, because of the surgery, he won't be able to take his shoes off, and hit some golf balls in Radio Row.
I bet he could still beat you in golf.
Well, absolutely. In a wheelchair, he could beat
Yeah, but
me in
that's
golf.
true. Little known fact: Jim McMahon played golf in bare feet. He plays in bare feet. People did not.
A lot of people don't remember that he played for the Eagles. Not only did he play for the Eagles, but he was on a Sports Illustrated cover. If you Google that, with the Eagles, I got on eBay all these Sports Illustrated covers. There's 7 different Eagles quarterbacks on the cover.
Wow.
Cunningham, Jeff Garcia has a Sports Illustrated cover. Jim McMahon. Then there's Michael Vick has one.
Yeah.
Nick Foles has one. I think Jalen might. Well, no, because now it's weekly. And then obviously Carson Wentz had one.
How about that? You're not getting this knowledge anywhere else.
No.
What other show was giving you live man on the street with a wheelchair?
It's huge.
Kyle Turley, he better have some gummies for me today. The last time I saw Kyle, seriously, in Miami a couple of years ago, because we didn't go the last 2 years, because obviously COVID, and then LA, we didn't go last year because we had family. I might have grandkids now. So Kyle Turley came on in Miami on Radio Row and handed me a gummy. So Harry Mays and I were doing the shows on Radio Row. And so Kyle Turley comes over and he has gummies. So Harry says, "You want do a gummy?" So Harry grabs a gummy and he chews it and nothing happens to him. I said, "Let me do one." So I do it. I chew it. Within 10 minutes, I was like Timothy Leary back in the LSD days, man. I was like totally wasted. And I just couldn't think. I was just like, yeah, man. Yeah. I was like the kid that said, "Dude, you're getting it down." Dude. So, if you're used to that stuff in your system, the THC or whatever's in there, you can do it. Harry, it didn't faze him at all. And me, I was like, so I'm going to do another gummy today and see if my THC resistance has improved over the last few years. Does it improve with age? I don't know.
Hey, Tony, it's worth a shot. It'll make for good radio or good digital or good podcast. I'll tell you that.
But by the way, now here, Kyle, I'm gonna give you another live look at Jim McMahon and Kyle Turley. Kyle Turley pushing Jim McMahon across here.
Oh,
Cal, you
wow.
got any gummies for me today, man? You got any gummies for me today, man? You hooked me up in Miami. Say hi to Philly. There they are. You know Derek Gunn?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's going
up,
on,
boys?
man? How you
We
doing
gonna be
today?
with y'all today?
Yeah, I'll see you up there, man. There they are.
Wow.
Kyle Turley, and I feel like I'm like on the red carpet.
This is
You know
unbelievable.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you-
You're Ryan Seacrest, Tony. I mean,
I'm the Ryan Seacrest of media, of sports media. Except I don't have the frosted tips, though.
No.
You know, I don't have the but Jim McMahon with the shaved head, so he's obviously following in my footsteps.
They all
So it'll be fun today.
So
And you know,
Tony,
it's just fun to do this. I mean, this isn't work. You know this. They're long days,
Yep.
but it's not hard work.
Yeah, we're not digging
Don
ditches.
Martin, ladies and gentlemen. Say hello to Don Martin.
What is going on, ladies and
This
What's
is
gentlemen?
up?
live in Philly right now.
Guys,
What's up,
I can't believe I'm here with the world famous Tony Bruno.
absolutely.
You guys get to work with him every day.
No, not every day. No,
Just
not
today,
every
we're
day.
You
blessed.
should
No.
work with him every day.
I have to
They did at one time.
I have to make an appointment just to talk to Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just trying to be his agent and take good care of him, but evidently he doesn't need me.
I'm
Good
the Ryan-
seeing you guys.
I'm on the red
You got
carpet. I'm like the Ryan Seacrest of sports.
Oh, the
radio.
Ryan Seacrest of Sports Radio.
Yes.
Radio Rollers.
Your hair looks very similar to his.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good to see you, Doc. All right.
Hey,
So
Tony,
this is what happens, man. I mean, none of this is planned. This is the parking garage for the media, and so this is where everybody comes in when they park. And you know, since I am who I am, I actually get a parking pass, so I don't have to park like 6 blocks away and then walk lugging equipment. So, but look at this day. Look at this guy. Look at this, man.
Absolutely.
I love
Beautiful.
that. I love that town, man. I love it. I love Phoenix.
I love Phoenix too, man.
And
I
my brother,
love Phoenix.
and my brother who lives there rubs it in every chance he gets, especially when it's cold back here, Tony, and he's sitting in 80-degree weather in shorts and flip flops. So every time I tell him, I say, when I see him, I'm gonna punch you dead in your throat.
Yeah, no, it's you know, and I moved to Florida last year in August, right, a month before the hurricane in Cape Coral, where the hurricane hit the
Oh,
hardest. You know, and people said, are you now going to stay in Florida? I said, yeah, because I survived a hurricane. My house didn't blow down. And so I feel good. And they got everything. They got things back together really quickly down there. You know, the National Guard and FEMA and the governor and all the people there, they really did an amazing job. You know, it's not completely restored. Certainly looked like Fort Myers Beach is messed up. And so I'll be there for spring training. You guys coming down for spring training?
It's the best. Is there anything
I don't-
better
I
than
don't think I
Clearwater,
will.
man? Clearwater's the best, Tony.
Oh yeah, Clearwater is only an hour north of me,
Yeah.
so I'll be going up there. Fort Myers, you know, has you have the Red Sox down there. You've got the Minnesota Twins. The Braves now moved from the Disney complex. They've got a facility down there in Southwest Florida too. So you know, what the thing about living in Florida and coming to Arizona, you know, when you live in Philly and you grow up, and again, I love Philly. It was my home. You know, but in the wintertime, I used to get, you know, when it got dark early, you know, you get into that funk, you got that sad thing, you know, you get depressed, you don't want to go outside. Then COVID hit and everybody was inside and putting on weight. And so when I, you know, in Florida, I get up every day and I just feel young again, man. I feel energized. And here in Arizona, the same thing, even though it's chilly in the morning, perfect during the day at this time of the year. Costs you $700 to play golf now, but in 3 months you can get on for $10 because it's too hot to play. You know how that works. But everybody's either here or Florida this week because they're smart.
Yeah. So what do you think about the game, man? We didn't even get a chance to
What
get
game?
your take.
Is a game? Not a game. Not a game. We're talking about
not a
practice.
game.
Yes.
Not a game. No, I mean, obviously everybody here, and you know, it's funny because I talk to a lot of athletes who don't know I'm from Philly, and they're all picking Philly. And, you know, I just think that they all see where the game starts and where it ends, the offensive and defensive lines.
Yep.
And obviously, you know, there could be a mistake. There's a turnover, and, you know, and then the point spread's not going to go back that way because all big money's coming in, and this line has not moved very much.
Yep.
You know, so, and the last 14 Super Bowls I read, the point spread has never been above 6. So there's never been a touch in the last 14 Super Bowls. There hasn't been a 1 touchdown favorite. All the point spreads have been under 7 points. So that just shows you that when you get to the Super Bowl, you have the 2 best teams, and that's what you want. And I don't think there's any doubt that the Eagles were the best team in the NFC. They proved it. And the nonsense about they didn't play anybody, I don't know if you guys saw the stats. The Eagles are only one of 3 teams that were 9-1 during the regular season against teams with winning records. One of them was the Patriots. One of them was the Vikings back in the day. And now the 2022 Eagles, 9-1. And the one loss was without Jalen Hurts. With Jalen Hurts, they were 10-0 against teams with winning records. And his number against, you know, he's like 16-0. So again, Jalen Hurts is getting better and better. He's no longer the guy who can't throw, but he can run. He's showing he's got the whole package. And the Eagles will be able to run on Kansas City. They should be able to pass on the secondary. They're not lockdown corners. They're young guys, unlike the Niners, who I think their corners absolutely did a great job of containing the Eagles receivers, and that's why the Eagles had to find ways to make it work. So, I mean, all signs point to the Eagles winning this game because right now, man for man, you know, and I know our boy Johnny Spags, that's John Spagnola. He was the former tight end. Remember back in the day?
Oh yeah,
the big John Spagnola.
Yes,
but you know,
Steve
the Eagles
Spagnuolo.
coaching staff is familiar. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnola. These guys know each other. They know how they play. But I think if you look at the offensive lines, you look at the defensive lines, you look at every facet. Maybe Harrison Buckner, but you know the Eagles' kicking game has been pretty damn good too. So hopefully it'll probably come down to a mistake or a turnover. You know, but I think it's going to be a game. And both quarterbacks are still not 100%. So what we saw with Jalen Hurts, and you also saw with Pat Mahomes, who's I think is a lock Hall of Famer right now, that these guys have the ability. When you need that big 5-yard game, when the game's coming down, you're trying to hold on to a lead and churn out the clock. I think both of these teams, although I think the Eagles are better suited at churning out a clock and running the game down, and we saw it against the Giants, which they didn't have to worry about. The clock should have been run. They should have just forfeited the entire second half and gone home. But against the Niners, they ran down the clock, and you saw the Niners knew they had no shot. They weren't even calling timeout. So I think it's going to be one of those games where whoever's ahead. You know, if they can't run out the clock, and we know the Eagles coaching staff is much more challenging than Andy Reid. Andy Reid, you know, likes to play a conservative, and it was the Andy Reid disciples who are now the more aggressive guys. You know, going for it on 4th and 3 from their own 34. You know, that gives the team confidence, Derek. You know this, D-Gun. You know the coaches and how the players react. You know, and then there's a lot of people that I know, and they're saying they don't like the Eagles head coach. They don't like Sirianni. He's too rah-rah. I said, you know, they said the same thing about Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly, when he came in, instantly got guys to buy into his thing, right? And Chip Kelly was a rah-rah guy, but Chip Kelly proved that he couldn't, you know, eventually he was not really an NFL coach. But Sirianni comes in here. You know these guys are buying into it. You know they feed off his energy. You look at Pete Carroll. You look at Dick Vermeil. There's some coaches who could do that rah-rah, running up and down the sidelines. And Sirianni, I don't know how long that could last with this group, but right now, everything he's doing, all the decisions, all the adjustments that he and his staff are making have been brilliant. I mean, this guy's out-coached pretty much everybody that he's played against, other than that one game where they weren't ready for Washington and they took it for granted, and Washington was able to just run the clock down and run the ball in that loss, the first loss of the year. So, you know, and you saw what they did to Washington. You saw what they did to the Giants after 3 times. This team's ready, and if they don't win, I'd be really, really shocked.
Hey, Tony, real quick, where are you going to be positioned on game day?
I'm going to be sitting in my condo with 5 big screens outside watching the Coyotes. I'm not going to the game. I haven't gone to a game in forever. And so I'm going to be sitting outside drinking mimosas. I'll be drinking. Howard Eskin will be providing the alcohol. As Howard Eskin walks out of the media, we got
there he is, the
man
genius.
who should be here.
Genius.
Hey, genius!
There he is.
Oh my God.
D-Gun and Rob Ellis.
You know what? Is this a bad moment for me, or is this a good moment?
You know, it's funny because I came out of the media hotel. I had to do a hit with these guys. I told them, and then everybody's coming out. So whoever comes out, Jim McMahon came by, Kyle Turley, and I was like, I feel like I'm on radio. I feel like I'm on the red carpet at the Emmys.
You know what? Your bad moment is talking to Tony.
Good point.
Howard say that. I want Howard to say, is it an outrage that Derek Gunn is not here at the Super Bowl with the Eagles?
It's disgraceful and an outrage.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
There he was, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
The
genius.
king of Philadelphia.
Be
He's
good,
the
genius.
king of Philadelphia. I'm the king of Radio Row.
Yes.
He's the king of
It's
Philly.
not Radio Row anymore.
I know it is. What are
I
we
don't know
calling
what
it now?
It's called Ridiculous Row.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God.
Did you guys think that when I came on and did this, we would be getting live up to the minute, up to the second updates of media coming in?
No.
I mean, seriously, the NFL Network doesn't have this coverage right now. I mean, they have everybody back in L.A. The NFL Network is not even here. Everybody's out there at the SoFi Stadium office, and they go outside, and they got like 2 reporters here. And they're the NFL network. So my point about all the radio stations we were talking about earlier, radios, they're not sending their people. The big stations from all the markets that aren't in the Super Bowl used to send people anyway. But in the economy where everybody's cutting back, you're not seeing that anymore. You're not seeing, Boston and New York and all these other cities that would routinely send their top talent. Now there's a lot of empty seats, and you're looking around and you're saying the Joe Schmo show. And again, God bless them. They can, and the good thing for these people is that the NFL is credentialing them. Yep. So the NFL wants those tables filled because they're basically, an all week long free advertising for the Super Bowl. So the NFL used to be really stringent with the credentialing. Now, if you called and said, I want a table for tomorrow, table for 2, they say, okay, we got a spot for you. But it's pretty full. But again, it's not the radio stations that you would expect to see here. A lot of podcasts and a lot of shows, religious shows, inspiration shows. So there's all different genre of podcasting going on here, and everybody's doing their show. So I guess it still works. But the gambling thing is the biggest thing I notice. It's amazing how many gambling outfits are in there, and they have the biggest sets. They're bigger than anybody. CBS, you name it. DraftKings and FanDuel. You cannot walk an inch without seeing, and they're gigantic sets with lights going up on top, countdown clocks, and everything else. So that's the biggest difference, guys.
Hey, Tony, I know you have a show to do in 26 minutes. Hey, man, it's been a long time since we've talked to you. I can't thank you enough for taking some time to talk to us, man. I appreciate you responding to me and keeping your word. And tell Ms. Robin, please, thank you for arranging this for us.
No problem, guys. It was easy. The logistics that we're doing, because Robin's producing all these shows, because we have like 5 different shows there. Eric Burns. So it starts at 6 in the morning and goes to 5 o'clock at night. And Robin is the one who put all the credentialing, all the media stuff together, and she's been running ragged. So she has to try to help me keep my schedule. But when you hit me up on my DM, and I haven't even looked at my phone most of the days because I'm putting it down, waiting for the next guest to come over. So I appreciate, guys, I'm always there for you. So thanks for having me on, man. It was a lot of fun.
Tony, this was epic, man. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother.
I'm predicting right now, Mark, save the tape. Do we still rack the tape?
We can rack.
Eagles will win this game, not because I'm a homer. Eagles will win this game by double digits. Mark it down now. Double digits. So that means 10 or more if you're bad at math like I am. 10 or more points. So in other words, they're going to cover the 1.5, 2.5, whatever the line's going to go off at. Get it in now. Refinance your home. Take out another second mortgage. Sell all your credit. Sell all your crypto. Get your bullion out. Get it out of the safe. The money under your mattress. Anything you have, put it all in the middle of the table, and you may be able to take a long European vacation once they cash it on Sunday night.
Oh my God, Tony, unbelievable, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for a couple minutes.
Be good, brother.
Thanks, guys. Stay warm, man.
Thank you. All right, that's Tony Bruno. You can follow him on Twitter at Tony Bruno Show. Of course, no filter host. Just download it, and it is phenomenal. Gunner, that was
dude. Let me tell you what I tell you. You get Tony. I told you. I don't know what we're gonna get from Tony, but what he just gave us was 50 times better than what I was expecting from him.
Oh my God, man! He's in the street. We got Jim McMahon, Kyle Turley, Eskin rolls past. I mean, this was just insanity.
You can't script anything better, dude. I'm telling you.
Holy smokes, what a way to start it. All right. As I mentioned, that's just the beginning of this thing. We got Tim McManus from ESPN.com who's on site. We got Seth Joyner, who's in Arizona right now on site. He's going to be joining us a little bit later. We got a crew rolling from Philly to Arizona. I don't even know where they are at this point. They're going to be checking in from the RV. You don't want to go anywhere. But when we come back, Gunner, all right, when we come back, I'm going to give you a key area the Eagles can attack on the Chiefs and have success. All right, we'll do that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. I want to tell you right now about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because finding that right person can be a challenge, can be a scary proposition with your hard-earned money. I found the right person, and I want you to have that person as well, whether it's retirement planning, insurance review, you have a small business, you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know I personally entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim. I couldn't be any happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could email him as well, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
post-game show with Seth